we're starting to get these kind of articles, and I'm going to say it. It's a stupid article. This is an opinion piece, and I don't begrudge anyone their opinion, except when it's stupid, and this is kind of a dumb opinion. But we're going to go through it here. This is over at gamesindustry.biz, and I don't mean to be so harsh here. I'm sure the author and writer, Rob Fahey here is the contributing editor, is a very smart guy. He's clearly a good writer going through this. He's an excellent writer, better than I could ever write, of course. But I think what so many people are doing, and I do it myself, in fairness here, but with Starfield coming and Xbox having the success that it's having and going down the path that it's going, you have so many people who are just broken. They're just broke. Xbox is the second place team. Xbox is the cute console that PlayStation beats up on. That's it. Xbox doesn't come out with once in a generation type of games. Not since the first Xbox, not since the 360. That just doesn't happen. And when it does, it's only once in a while. And usually it's a multiplayer game. It's a game that I don't play. It's not an RPG single player game. That's PlayStation. That's why I love PlayStation, because I'm a real gamer. That's the mentality that a lot of these media journalists take, and it's really aggravating. And let's go through and let me show you why this article here. Let's respond to it. Xbox at the Crossroads. This is an opinion piece, and I think his opinion is wrong. Microsoft's new Activision Blizzard deal would set the company on a very specific path. Can it also focus on the first-party pipeline Starfield is meant to exemplify? The answer is yes. Yes, it can. Basically, what Rob does here is he sets up two paths. He says there's two paths for Microsoft, and Starfield is really making this a sharp, you can see the difference. One is the ABK, the Activision Blizzard deal. Activision Blizzard acquisition. That's what I was looking for. That's one path where Microsoft just gobbles up publishers and gets their games, doesn't actually create them themselves. And then there's the Starfield path, where yes, this is something organic that Microsoft creates, even though it's not organic, even though Microsoft did publish that. But the point is, can they then take these first-party titles and develop them, incubate them into greatness, which is what Starfield looks like for all intents and purposes. It's going to be. He thinks the two are opposed. I do not. I think they're on the same line. They're the same. Boop. They're just at different steps in the path. First step one, acquisition. Step two, make great games. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. And I think Xbox's problems, they've had to do a harsh reset here. And this is that harsh reset. So let's go down here. Let's get to the end of this. He sets it up in those two options. And let's start here. In an ideal world, Starfield really would be the starting gun for Xbox software turnaround. An exemplar of a strong and growing pipeline of major first-party games that are Xbox and PC exclusives, with lots of new IP and new studios in the mix to further strengthen the brand identity of Xbox. That's the future we hoped for before the ABK deal was ever even mentioned in public, and of course, it doesn't have to disappear just because the ABK deal goes through. 100%. The premise here, though, you can see he's setting it up. The premise is that this is a one-off from Starfield, and I disagree with that. From Microsoft, Starfield being great, one-off. I disagree with that completely. I think this is the beginning of greatness for Xbox. We did a video last week talking about that. On the other hand, he says, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, which is that with the best will in the world, that bright future isn't exactly what's happening. I am baffled at this. That bright future is not what's happening. Have you not been paying attention to Game Pass? Number one, how it's doing. Number two, what's on it? The value for gamers there? I digress, though. Let's continue. You can't blame the ABK deal, at least not entirely, so you can blame it, he says, a little bit, for the fact that Starfield feels more like an isolated solo tentpole than the beginning of a first-party deluge. How? He doesn't go on to explain how it's only a first party. In fact, his next couple sentences disprove that it's only. The games are coming, so the games are coming. And some of them look pretty great, but it's a trickle, not a flood. Okay, now do PlayStation. Where is the flood of PlayStation 5 games? Give them to me. Go ahead, name them. I'll give you 5 minutes. Go. There's Spider-Man? And seems like a trickle. And this is my point. They apply different standards to different consoles. Like, you could write this exact same sentence. The games are coming, and some of them look pretty great, but it's a trickle, not a flood. my goodness. He continues. This is what's more frustrating right here. It frustrates me. This just illustrates biasness right here. But at the point in Xbox's lifespan, when it really needs major titles, the billions of dollars spent on studio and publisher acquisitions thus far haven't delivered the pipeline anyone hoped for. What are we, 2 years out from Bethesda? Starfield is step one of that, which he kind of recognizes, but then he wants them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, 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 boom. Also, actually, step one of that was Hi-Fi Rush, which came from Tango Gameworks, right? Step one. It's a great game. But we forget about those because it's convenient to our narrative. Also, what about Forza Motorsport, which has seen a complete reboot here in the next month and is the creme de la creme of racing games? Oh, doesn't matter though. Perhaps Activision Blizzard plugs that gap. Also, can I just say, I really hate, where's the flood of PlayStation 5 games? Again, that's basically his thing. You make these major acquisitions, not for 2 years in the future, 3 years in the future. You make them for 10 to 20 years in the future. This is a long-term, all-in game for Xbox. Game Pass. They want a library where it's more worth it for you to subscribe to their Game Pass subscription than anything else. And that's the future of gaming. Perhaps Activision Blizzard, he goes on, plugs that gap. The streaming issue has been something of a sideshow. Okay, we'll skip this. It's not a sideshow. It's a sideshow because the CMA made it a sideshow. That's why Xbox didn't make it a sideshow. The CMA, bad regulators, bad government actors made it a sideshow. The possible future that we originally saw for Xbox, the excitement about Microsoft's renewed commitment to building up its studios to the point where it could be a genuine rival to Sony's software slate, hangs in the balance. Does it? Does it hang in the balance? This is my point right here. These kind of the sky is falling in the shadow of Starfield launching. You can't just say, wow. Well done, Microsoft. Instead, what do you say? It's hanging in the balance. Microsoft, yes, this could be a generational style game, but is it a one-off? The entire Xbox strategy hangs in the balance. Are you kidding me? It doesn't hang in the balance. Hangs in the balance. Ugh. The alternative, in which almost $100 billion in total is spent to buy enough publishers to make Microsoft a major player, is probably the reality we're getting. He's setting up this binary choice that just doesn't exist. You either buy publishers or you create great games. No, guess what? You do both. Guess who's bought publishers recently? Sony. Where's your critique of that? In fact, you set up a premise as if Sony you by omission are saying that Sony has a flood of games coming in. Where's their flood of games? Where is it at? Answer, it's not here. It takes time to do things. These investments, you don't invest $100 billion and expect something to happen overnight. I mean, I guess you do. You do get and what happens overnight is the fame. Look at the interest in Xbox. Go ahead. Go to Google Trends. Go Google Trends and check Xbox versus PlayStation interest worldwide over the last 6 months. That's what $100 billion gets you instantly. But these investments are for 10 and 20 years down the road. They're long-term here. We're at the beginning of the Xbox gaming domination generation. I missed that word. I just hate the hangs in the balance. Hangs in the balance. To the extent to which that will hamper further development of Microsoft's own game studios and first-party publishing remains to be seen. I don't think it hampers it at all. I think that this is a false binary choice that does not exist in actuality. And I think what we have, honestly, is gaming media, people who are used to the world operating in a certain way, and their mind has been broken. I think ultimately the point he's trying to make here is Xbox going to be able to manage all these party studios to make it worth it, the money that they've spent, to pump out the amount of quality first-party games equivalent to the amount that these developers cost? That's the question. Instead, what he ends up doing is saying that Xbox's entire strategy hangs in the balance. Gives away your own biasness and your own dissonance. Now, Rob may be watching this and maybe saying to himself, well, you're biased, you're full of this, I don't even know what you're saying. Yes, I am. But I'm saying that up front. I'm an Xbox guy. Here's the thing, though. I think this is the correct strategy. That's it. I do. That does me for today, everybody. Just had to get this one off my chest. Just exercise some demons here. I would love to know what you think. What did I get wrong here? What did I get incorrect? Let me know where I may be missing something. Am I tainted? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Where am I right? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you like this video. We're dropping Xbox videos all the time. I'm X1 the Gamer. Like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.